welcome everyone to another video. My name is Denis and today I'm going to show you a wildcard draft for Game Week 12 of Fantasy Premier League, but now let's just get into it. Okay guys, so as I said before, today I'm going to show you a wildcard draft for Game Week 12 of Fantasy Premier League in case you're using the chip. Now hopefully this video is going to be helpful for you no matter if you're going to use the chip or not. We're going to start from this one, which is an Erling Haaland draft which I think is going to be really popular, but don't worry guys, we're going to change it. So in this video you're going to see Mohamed Salah draft, Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland draft. So yeah, we're going to see different permutations. Now before talking about the players I would choose on a wildcard, let's just take a look at the fixtures, because I think that this is a really important thing to do if you're going to use your wildcard, obviously, this gaming. So this is a nice window to use your wildcard if you still have the chip, obviously. And if we look at the best fixtures for these teams, it is not a surprise. Liverpool are going to go on a really amazing run of fixtures, and again, it is a shame that they are really unpredictable at the moment to know where they are going to perform or not. So yeah, this is a shame. And also we don't really have a lot of good attacking midfielders, attacking strikers to pick from Liverpool at the moment because of a lot of things, injuries, rotation and all that. But again, if you're using a wildcard in Game Week 12, I think that you should have some Liverpool players into your team because of those fixtures mainly. And we know that at some point Liverpool are going to turn it up. Maybe they're not going to fight for the Premier League, but still I am expecting at least them to be a really good side at the end of the season. So Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds, Brighton, Spurs, Wolverhampton, Leeds in Game Week 19. The fixtures are great for a long period of time for Liverpool. And again, as I said before, we're going to talk a little bit about some options from Liverpool where we're going to discuss about the wildcard team. But looking at these fixtures, Liverpool, Man United, Bournemouth, Newcastle. If you're going to use a wildcard in Game Week 13, maybe you're going to pick some Newcastle players. Also, they are going to have a really nice run of fixtures, but it is a shame they are playing against Man City in Game Week 13. So yeah, maybe don't pick a lot of players from Newcastle. Crystal Palace are another team who are going to be really interested. Wolverhampton, Man United, Burnley, Fulham, Man City in Game Week 16, tough. Leeds, Spurs, Fulham. So yeah, they have also really nice fixtures. Arsenal, they are here on the 7th place. So the short-term fixtures for Arsenal are not amazing. Let's be honest. Spurs, Chelsea, Aston Villa in the next 4. It is not such an easy run of fixtures, but with Arsenal, they are favorites to win the Premier League, and they have a really good defense, like everyone knows. So again, you should have some players from Arsenal, 2 or 3. Again, I don't think that it is a must to have 3 from them, but probably it is a good idea. From Manchester City, again, everyone is going to have probably Erling Haaland if you don't want to go super differential. Other than that, yeah, we need to discuss also about other options. But if we move again to the wildcard team, now this is the first draft I made. Probably a lot of things are going to change after this international break. But yeah, if you want to activate your chip for Game Week 12, just do it now. Try to catch some price rises, all the good stuff. So with this team, I have 0.5 million in the bank. Let's discuss about the goalkeepers, right? First, if we move down, I have Petrovic and Dubravka. As we saw before, the fixtures for Bournemouth are really good. So again, you should have probably one defender from them. I didn't include here Senesi because if you're going to buy Senesi new, I just don't think that I would go for him. Honestly, he's at the moment, his price is 5 million. So again, I think that you could go other options, but obviously if you still have him, if you got him at 4.5 million, then yeah, probably just have Senesi. And in goal, I really don't mind going for Raya. If you want, maybe going for Pope, although he's going to play against Man City in Game Week 13, so not amazing. And other than that, you could have a look at someone like Alisson Becker from Liverpool if he's going to be fit, but again, you need to see if you want to double up on Liverpool defense or not. They are pretty unpredictable at the moment, so I'm not sure if I would do that. With Arsenal, let's start with them. I have 3 players from Arsenal. I have Gabriel, Calafiori and Bukayo Saka. Now, Calafiori is my second defender from Arsenal. Gabriel is a lock on this wildcard, so I'm not going to discuss too much about him. I think that he's the best defender in the game at the moment, and I think that he's worth the price. Calafiori is here just because he's a little bit more cheap than Timber, but I just don't think that it is such a big difference between them. So Timber is 6.1, Calafiori 5.8. Again, I could have gone for Timber. I have the money to do that. just pick your second defender from Arsenal. I would not go for Saliba for what's worth, and then I would still go for Bukayo Saka. Again, Rice is still okay if you want to go there, if you want to save up some cash, but I think that Bukayo Saka, not just because he scored against Sunderland, I think that he's the best attacking player from Arsenal pretty much. So yeah, he's on penalties. If Gyökeres is going to be out long term, there is not going to be any discussion about who's going to be on penalties from Arsenal. He could be on some set pieces. The fixtures short term from Arsenal are not amazing. Spurs and Chelsea and Aston Villa in game week 15, but they are the best defense in the Premier League and maybe in the world. And although they conceded 2 goals against Sunderland, I still think that you should go double up in defense. And also, if you want to triple up in defense, I think that's not such a bad idea either, but that's why you see Calafiori here on the bench, but you could make a case to just play Calafiori. So try to ignore that benching of Calafiori. He could easily be a starting player into your starting 11. Now with Liverpool, as I said before, they are going to have the best fixture run for all the teams, and it doesn't really matter if you think that they are a bad team or not, if they are not going to be good or not in the future. If any team in the Premier League would have that run of fixtures, we would be targeting to have some players, at least maybe minimum one player from that team. And it's also Liverpool. We know that they are a good team. They are the champions of last year, so we know that they can play good football. I'm expecting them to keep some clean sheets. We talked about the fixtures. They are amazing for a long period of time. Virgil van Dijk probably would be a lock also on my wildcard. He should have got also a goal against Manchester City. He has some attacking threat. With the busy period, with Christmas, with all that stuff, you know that Virgil van Dijk is going to play 90 minutes every game week. He's really reliable. He has a good attacking threat from set pieces, and he's also really good defensive contribution. So yeah, I think that he's just a nice option, and also it's really nice that he dropped in price to 5.9 million. So yeah, thanks to all the people who sold him before Man City. Now let's just finish with the defense. So I have also Munoz here. We're going to discuss in a minute about different permutations. So it is not a must to go for Munoz. I would go for a Crystal Palace defender 100% on a wildcard. I think that Munoz is the best one of them, although he was outscored by someone like Richards, someone like Gay in the last 2 game weeks or something like that. But with Munoz, you have pretty much an attacker who's playing, who's a defender listed in FPL, who can get you goals, who can get you clean sheets, and the occasional defensive contribution. So I think that he's worth the price. They're going to start also against Wolverhampton away, which is an amazing fixture at the moment. So I would go for Munoz. And we talked about Calafiori. The 5th defender, again, it doesn't need to be Mukiele, but again, you could go for someone like Rodon, Goodmanson. I think that I would like to go for a cheaper defender here, because again, you could go for someone like Anderson. So yeah, this is not a problem. You could go for someone like Anderson, or for someone like Keane, or for someone like Van Heck from Brighton, who's 4.4 at the moment. So this is not a problem. I have the money to do it, but I think that you have 4 really good defenders, and I'm not sure how many times you're going to need to bench one of them. If you're going to have Gabriel, Calafiori, Van Dijk and Munoz, probably you're just going to play them most weeks, honestly. Maybe if you're going to have Munoz against Man City, then yeah, maybe you could bench him. But other than that, I don't see a lot of reason to have a lot of money into your 5th defender. Now, let's talk a little bit about the midfield. Bukayo Saka, Semenyo, Szoboszlai, Minte, and Ismail Assar. Now here you can see some surprises. I don't have a Manchester United midfielder, which may come as a surprise or not to you. I don't think that they are bad options, definitely. I think that if you want to go for someone like Bruno Fernandes, someone like Mbeumo, they are great options, and we're going to try to include them also on this wildcard. But this is the first wildcard I made, and I feel that it is really good. And again, if we look at the Manchester United fixtures for the next 2, they are going to play against Everton and against Crystal Palace. So the next 2 are not amazing. After that, West Ham, Wolverhampton, it's great. And then Mbeumo is going to go to African Cup of Nations. So yeah, I don't think that's a problem. But let's talk about the picks I picked, and then see which one of them could make some room for someone like Bruno Fernandes or Mbeumo. Semenyo, again, he is on my wildcard. if you don't have him really early this season, then you could make a case to go without him. But the fixtures, the short-term fixtures are just great for Bournemouth. That's why he's here. I know that he was a big disappointment in the last game weeks. He missed also penalty in game week 11, but West Ham, Sunderland, Everton, these three fixtures are great. After that, you could make a case to sell him, so this is not a problem. Chelsea, Man United, Burnley, Brentford, yeah, the fixtures are decent anyway if you want to keep him, but I could understand if you want to go without him. Soboslai, it is an interesting one because he's at the moment the most reliable attacking player from Liverpool, let's just put it like that. So in defense, I have Virgil van Dijk. You could go for someone like Konate if you want to save up some cash. I wouldn't go for Bradley, I wouldn't go for Frimpong, Kerkez, Robertson. You can't really go for these options. In midfield, Gakpo was benched in the last two games against Real Madrid, against Manchester City, so I just don't think that he's going to start every game week. Ekitike, Isak, the same story. If both of them are going to be fit, one of them is going to be benched at some point. Of course, they could play both of them at some point, but I just don't think that's going to be how they're going to line up every game week. Someone like Wirtz, probably not a lot of people are going to go for him at the moment, but he's really cheap, and I think that he's going to be a decent option at some point in the future if he can really perform better and have his game better a little bit. But yeah, at the moment you're not going to go for Wirtz, Gakpo, Gravenberch, McAllister. Mohamed Salah obviously is going to be the biggest differential if you want to go for him. Again, he's really expensive, so this is the only problem. So that leaves us with Soboslai, who's really good at that price, but it is a tricky one because now he has 4 yellow cards. So when Soboslai is going to get another yellow card, he's going to be suspended. So this is a really tricky position to go, because you could go without him and maybe he's not going to get that yellow card for a long period of time and you're just going to miss the good fixtures. Anyway, if you want to take a punt on Soboslai, let's just take it like that. He's playing 90 minutes every game week. He's decent for defensive contributions, more likely if he's going to play as a right back, which I don't think that's going to be the case long term. But if he's going to play as a number 10, we saw even against Man City when all the players from Liverpool were really bad in this game yesterday, Soboslai was probably one of the best. So yeah, with the only shot on target, I think, from Liverpool. So he's on some set pieces. We know that he can score goals, and yeah, he's in really good form at the moment. He's probably the best player from Liverpool this season, so I like him. But again, if you don't want to go for him because of that risk, I really understand. Minte, I think that I would go for him because I just think that he's the best midfielder to have at that price, 6 millions or under. We're not going to discuss about Caicedo, about about Dewsbury Hall, Paqueta. Again, maybe some players outscore him, like Caicedo, maybe someone like Gravenberch, Souček, but again, I just think that long term Minte is going to be a great option, and mostly because the fixtures are amazing for Brighton, Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Villa, West Ham, Liverpool, Sunderland, Arsenal. Then it gets a little bit trickier, but for 6 millions, I think that is great. His minutes are great, and Brighton are a good attacking team at the moment. And Ismail Assar, my last midfielder. I know that he was really disappointing for the owners. He had a lot of chances also against Brighton in the first half, and he just, I don't know, missed all of them. So yeah, really unlucky for the owners, but I still think that he's a good option. Again, he's getting the chances. I think that he's going to return at some point. Definitely, if you don't want to go for Sar, that's perfectly fine. He's going to go to African Cup of Nations. But yeah, I wouldn't put too much pressure on you because to not pick players who are going to go to African Cup of Nations, because we're going to get 5 free transfers in Game Week 16. So you're going to have some free transfers to sell them. Again, you don't want to have too many because we're going to get 5 free transfers in Game Week 16, but you don't need to use all of them in that game week, right? You could just carry some of them. So yeah. In attack, Haaland, Mateta, this is pretty much straightforward. This is probably something how I would go if I would be using the wildcard in Game Week 12. Now, what can we change here? Let's just put Mukiele back. Again, for an example, let's just try to include someone like Mbeumo. If you want to go for a midfielder, I think that Mbeumo is slightly the more interesting, the more explosive pick. Obviously, from open play, I think that he's going to get more attacking returns than Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes is also himself a really decent option. So let's just say if you want to get rid of one of these midfielders, maybe you're going to do that with Soboslai. So if you try to add Mbeumo, I need 1.5 millions in the bank. Now, where we can get this money, maybe downgrading someone like Munoz to Richards, who I think that is an amazing option, probably the best one at 4.5 millions. Still, personally, I need to find out 0.4 millions. Now, again, maybe you can afford this team, maybe you have a better team value than me, but yeah, if we need to make some downgrades, let's just assume you don't want to go for two African Cup of Nation players, Mbeumo and Ismail Assar, and then you need to find a 6.2 midfielders to your team. So if we look at the list of midfielders, there aren't a lot of really amazing options at this price. Someone like Ahmad, I would not go for him. Again, there aren't a lot of good options. You could go for someone like Caicedo, you could go for someone like Chaka, and maybe also upgrade elsewhere. So let's just assume you could go for someone like Chaka if you want to still have a cheap midfielder here. And then let's just see if I can afford yeah, I can also personally afford Munoz, but that's because probably I made this I bought Munoz early, so I got the price rises. But yeah, this is with 0.0 minutes in the bank, and as I said before, mostly with this team you're not going to be worried to play four defenders at the back. So maybe again, it is not such a big problem to have just four really good midfielders. And other than that, you could just swap someone like Minte with Granit Xhaka or other midfielder if you want to. And I think that this is a pretty strong game week 12 squad. Again, let's just discuss. For an example, if you want to go for someone like Mohamed Salah, I think that he's a really nice option. Again, it is really tough for me to advise you at the moment to go for Mohamed Salah because he's just playing so bad at the moment. He's just not in form. He's just not up to it, and he's really expensive. So it's really tough to do that. Obviously, if you want to go for with a draft, with a wildcard draft, just with Mohamed Salah without Erling Haaland, that's really possible, and probably your team is going to look amazing. But I just don't think that a lot of people are going to go without Haaland. And even if you're going to go without Haaland, you're going to want him back at some point. So I'm not sure if that's worth it. So I'm just going to try to build here another wildcard draft, but with both of them, Haaland and Mohamed Salah. So yeah, if you want to go for Mohamed Salah, probably you need to get rid of Bukayo Saka. Probably this is the only way for me, and I still need to find 4.2 millions in the bank. Now probably you need to make some sacrifices, right? Now let's talk also about other options who I think that are great. If you want to go for someone like Thiago in attack, I think that he's a great option at a really nice price. If you look at the forwards, again, you're not going to go for Isak at the moment. João Pedro, he's okay for Burnley, but yeah, again, I'm not sure on a wildcard if I would go for him. Watkins, he's really expensive. Ekitike, the same problems. Voldemort at the moment, I'm not sure if I would go for him. Also, Man City in gaming 13. Bowen, Welbeck is a nice option also. But other than that, Thiago pretty much at that price, 6.3 million, some penalties, good minutes. Yeah, I think that is just a great option. And yeah, let's just make some downgrades here. Let's just put here Richards. Again, instead of Mukiele, let's try to find a 4 million defender, and with that opportunity I'm going to show you if there are any. So you could go for someone like Esteve. Someone like Tuanzebe is an interesting one at 3.9 if you want to take a punt and save up some cash, but yeah, other than that you don't really have a lot of options. So let's put here Esteve, and I need to find still 1.5 millions in the bank. So as you can see, it's not easy to have a really good squad with both Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland. Probably you need to get rid of someone like Mbeumo, I would say. But yeah, let's just see how this team is going to look like with Soboslai. So you're going to have two defenders from Arsenal. You're not going to have Bukayo Saka. You could go for a triple up from Arsenal, but I think that I would just go for Virgil van Dijk. If we make this team, I didn't talk too much about the bench, but Dubravka would be on my bench. Esteve, Guyo is going to be there just as a tank to tank that money. So because he's 4.2 million, so and I think that there's more value in midfield and defense at the moment than in attack. But yeah, I could be wrong here. I have 0.1 million in the bank. So again, here we have Gabriel Calafiori. You have three players from Liverpool, which is a huge differential at the moment. If you want to go different, Van Dijk, Salah, Soboslai. You have Minte, Semenyo, Chaka. This is a decent team. Now, again, could you do something different? Maybe get rid of your second Arsenal defender, just go for Raya, maybe upgrade one of your midfielders. You could do different things here. If you don't want to go for Soboslai, if you want to triple up on Arsenal, you could go for someone like Rice. And then you need to make some other sacrifices here. Let's just put here, instead of Calafiori, let's look at some other defenders. You could also triple up with Konate here if you have the money to do that. I think that he's the second best defender from Liverpool if you want to go for a double, but again, I'm not sure if I would go there. You could still have someone like Senesi, but again, triple up for Bournemouth after they just lost 4-0 to Aston Villa. Yeah, I'm just not sure if that's the best option. With City players, I didn't talk too much about them. Foden, I think that he should be into consideration. He played a lot of 90 minutes in the last game weeks, and I know that it doesn't really work like that with Pep Guardiola. He could be benched in any game, so that's with all the Man City midfielders. But again, the fixtures for City are going to be great after game week 12. Starting from game week 13, Leeds, Fulham, Sunderland, Palace, West Ham, Nottingham Forest. The fixtures are great. Someone like Foden could be an option. And yeah, as I said before, here you could go for, let's say, someone like Anderson, but the short-term fixtures are not amazing. And then you could upgrade someone like Minte to someone like Sar. So you could make a lot of permutation. Now, this is if you want to go for both of them, Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland. Again, the team doesn't look horrible, to be honest with you. Again, it's going to be a huge differential to have Mohamed Salah, and if he's going to return to at least 50% how good he was last season, he's going to be a really nice opportunity for you to climb the ranks. So yeah, it's not that easy to have a wildcard draft with both of them, Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland. Is going to need to take some sacrifices, but what you're missing pretty much with this wildcard team, which includes both of them, is Bukayo Saka. Maybe you need to sacrifice one of Gabriel and Calafiori. Maybe you need to go just with one defender from Arsenal, which might not be ideal long term, but short term I think that's okay. And bear in mind, guys, if you're going to go for Mohamed Salah, you're just going to have him for I don't know, 5 or 6 gaming, something like that, because he's going to go to African Cup of Nations, so you're going to need to sell him. As you can see, this team, the bench pretty much is a little bit weak, is not amazing, but at least after you're going to sell Mohamed Salah, you can redistribute those funds elsewhere and you can upgrade other positions. So this is just a short-term punt, let me just call it that, if you want to go a little bit different. I don't think that I would go with the wildcard draft with just Erling Haaland, which is totally possible. For an example, you're just going to go for Mateta, you can have all your other midfielders. You could go also for Bukayo Saka. Honestly, this team with Mohamed Salah only doesn't look really bad. You could go for someone like Munoz here, but again, what you're missing from this draft is Erling Haaland, so I'm not sure if that's worth it. As you can see, this is something of a team you could have. You could also upgrade Chaka to a 5.9 midfielder, so almost I can afford someone like Minte. And yeah, this is a team with only Mohamed Salah, Gabriel, Van Dijk, Munoz, Sar, Mateta, Thiago in attack. Yeah, Salah, Saka, Semenyo, Minte. You could downgrade someone like Semenyo if you want, if you need the funds. But yeah, I think that these look great on paper, but what you're missing, the best player in FPL. So yeah, I'm just not sure if I would go there. It's not that easy to make a draft with both of them. So yeah, you need to see what you're going to do with your wildcard team. Hopefully that video helped you a little bit. Let's see how this international break is going to end up, and then we're going to, maybe I'm going to do another wildcard draft after a week or something. Maybe some things are going to change, but thanks a lot for watching this video. I really appreciate it and it really means a lot. And yeah, I'm going to see you next time. Bye. Bag gura lor, când mă întreabă oamenii de unde sunt, le zic de